Stack them. Stack them. That's a strong coffee. You know I'm going to be sweating today. Back there, we're mining that Neoxa. You can go check out a how-to video on that if you like. If you want one-on-one time with me, make sure that you are joined up on the locals page. There's also additional benefits over there, so definitely check it out. What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and welcome to the Crypto Mining Show, your one-stop shop for all cryptocurrency news from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. Today, we are going to be talking about a ton of fun stuff. We have some changes going on in regulation. Essentially, well, not changes. Excuse me. We have some letters going out to the Congress from a bunch of Republicans. We'll talk about that. We are also going to be talking about a utility company inking a deal to power Bitcoin mining in Wyoming. We have Bitcoin miners releasing their estimates for their total hash rate. We have the Ethereum difficulty chart skyrocketing, but that's okay because we also have the official announcement for the Glacier upgrade, which will obviously at this point be reducing that difficulty through a difficulty bomb reset. And then we have Cardano developers delaying the ZIL upgrade. Some new firmware for the T19 and S19 from Hive OS. We also have some more GPU pricing going down. And we have basically some benchmarks for the Intel Arc A380. Not looking too good. Not looking too good. But we're going to get into all that after a word from today's sponsor. Remember, super stickers boost the algorithm the most. You can do the cheapest one and it helps. Super chats save till the end because they will be the first to be read. And that is pretty much it. We're going to get into it right after this ad. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. And welcome back, everybody. So first things first, we do have Intel Arc's A380 desktop graphics card in its first reviews, and apparently it's extremely disappointing. This is coming from WCCF Tech. It loses to the 6400 from Radeon and the GTX 1650 in gaming benchmarks. The first reviews of Intel's Arc A380 graphics card are in, and it looks like ChipZilla's first discrete desktop GPU is turning out to be a disappointment. The Intel Arc graphics cards were launched at the end of Q1 2022 for the mobility segment, and even by the end of Q2 of 2022. Intel still doesn't seem to have drivers ready for its Arc Alchemist GPU lineup, which is the main reason why the latest entry is failing to deliver any decent performance numbers in gaming. The review comes from Bilibee content maker. This one, Shen Medung. I give up on that, but Shen, we'll call him Shen, who was the first to post the test results for the Intel Arc A380 graphics cards in both synthetic and gaming workloads. The GPU was used is the Gunnar Arc A380 6GB Photon, which was launched recently for a price of 1,099 RMB. but has been listed at retail outlets for 14.99 RMB instead. We also saw some pre-order listings of the card at above 500 US dollars. That is insane pricing for this GPU, in my humble opinion. Coming to the specifications, the Intel Arc A380 graphics card will be an entry-level design featuring the full ACM G11 GPU that utilizes the Arc Alchemist Xe HPG architecture. It houses the full GPU configuration, making use of 8 Xe cores or 1024 ALUs. The graphics card also features 6 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory running at 15.5 gigabits per second for a 186 gigabytes a second of total bandwidth. That won't be fantastic for mining. That's pretty low. The total board power is rated at around 75 watts. That's good. The maximum frequency for the card is rated at 2000 megahertz, which shows that Intel is taking full advantage of TSMC's 6 nanometer process node. The Gun-Air custom model features a clock speed of up to 2450 megahertz and has a total board power of 92 watts. Not as good, right? As for the performance in synthetic workloads, the Intel Arc A380 graphics card was able to be close to the competition, which includes the 6400 and the 1650. So you could expect mining performance to be around these two, and for the price, not too good, right? Maybe a little bit above that, well, possibly, just because I think it has a little bit more memory bandwidth, but yeah. In Port Royal, the Arc A380 graphics card was almost twice as fast as the AMD RDNA 2 GPUs. The 6400 and 6500 XT, but lost to the RTX 3050, which was more than 3 times as fast. And so you have some of the benchmarks here. 3D Mark Firestrike, for example, the 1650 is right here. The A380 does beat that out, but doesn't beat out the 6400. And then we have the Time Spy, where we do see the A380 beating out the 6500 XT, but losing to the 3050. So Time Spy, as far as that goes, looks pretty good. And then Port Royal, it looks pretty good as well as far as where it's competing with. So for gaming, a range of DX11 and DX12 and Vulkan titles were used, such as League of Legends, GTA 5, PUBG, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Forza Horizon 5, and Red Dead Redemption 2. In all tests, the Intel Arc A380 graphics card not only ended up slower than the RX 6400, but also the GeForce 1650, which is years old now. And so you can see kind of the performances here, with the blue being the A380. And, you know, it's not quite there. Intel had specifically targeted the AMD RX 6400 in its press release for the Arc A380, where it stated that the new card will offer 25% better performance per won when it launches in Chinese markets. But that doesn't seem to be the case at all. Sure, the Intel Arc A380 has some cool tricks up its sleeve, such as hardware accelerated ray tracing, which is at this level, you know, non-existent on the competing models. Hardware assisted AI upsampling, which is one of the new technologies that we're still keeping an eye on with XESS, and AV1 encoding and decoding, and better content creation capabilities. But at the end of the day, it is a gaming card that fails to deliver any decent gaming numbers. The hardware configuration consisted of the Alder Lake i5 12400 CPU and a B660 board with DDR4 memory for all of the GPU tests, so that isn't the problem. Intel recently made it a requirement to enable resizable bar for optimal performance on Arc graphics cards. Plus, it isn't known if DTT was disabled for these tests. But with every test showcasing similar numbers, we can come to the conclusion that Intel's drivers are a major wreckfest, and they really need to fix them fast if they want people to consider the Arc as a viable competitor in the GPU segment. Now, a couple defense points here that I want to point out, all right, is that we are seeing in synthetic benchmarks pretty okay numbers, right? So it's winning, it loses on Firestrike, so traditional rasterization. If, you know, the DTT was disabled for this would make sense as far as this goes, right? And it would make sense that in the higher resolutions, right? So Time Spy being 1440p and Port Royal being, I believe, 4K, if I recall correctly, you would see essentially the memory bandwidth kind of help out there as well. So there is still some potential here. In general, I just don't see a ton of it. We'll have to wait for the drivers as far as gaming goes. But there is a little bit of potential still with Intel and mining performance in general. Obviously, the price point right now is terrible. But that could be because there's not an actual official Western launch. So when the Western launch happens, then we'll have a better idea. Right now, if you're trying to get one for testing, that sort of thing, you're having to go through tariffs. You're having to find somebody, usually like in China that's going to sell it to you, and that's going to drive the price up. And there's all that sort of nuance surrounding getting these cards right now. And so just keep that in mind. I don't think that $500 is going to be what it launches at for the A380. That's just some listings that you could get it, basically get it early, right? Get an early adopter thing. Maybe you're a YouTuber in the US that wants to review it before anybody else. So you're going to pay that $500 so you can get the clicks, that sort of thing, right? The GeForce RTX 3090 Ti on sale for $1,539 US, and the AMD RX 6900 XT is on sale for $720 US in Newegg's Bonanza sale. And this is for 2022. So we're starting to see the liquidation of GPUs, like old gen GPUs, as you would expect before we get a new release. And coming off the heels of course, the dive in the GPU market from cryptocurrency, then we see these prices. It's pretty awesome though. So opportunities are going to start flowing. Newegg is currently hosting its 2022 Bonanza sale, which includes some impressive deals on NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 3090 Ti and AMD's RX 6900 XT graphics cards. During the Bonanza sale 2022, Newegg has listed some impressive deals on the current generation of hardware, which includes the fastest gaming cards from AMD and NVIDIA. While there are many deals to go through, the most eye-catching ones on the fastest GPUs from the top two graphics vendors. Currently, the retailer has listed a custom Gigabyte 3090 Ti graphics card for $1,539 US, which is a 23% decrease over the $1,999 US MSRP. This custom model rocks a triple fan cooling solution and comes with a custom design PCB. This is in fact just $40 US more than the MSRP of the 3090. So those looking for the best performance that money can buy, well, now you can have it way below MSRP. Pretty awesome. Moving on to AMD's camp, we have the Gigabyte RX 6900 XT gaming overclock, and this is the one that I'm actually probably going to point you guys to, a custom designed and factory overclock variant of the RDNA 2 flagship. The graphics card is listed for $720 after we apply the rebate card and promo code VGA GBET249. You can go grab it from the description if you need to find this. The price falls down to $720 US, which is a 28% decrease versus the $999 that's the MSRP in the US. The Radeon RX 6900 XT is one of the fastest graphics cards around if you aren't into ray tracing, beating the likes of the 3090 and even coming close to the 3090 Ti in a few titles. Gigabyte's Aorus Radeon RX 6900 XT is also on sale for $999, which is MSRP. The $799 or $720 price is pretty dang fantastic. And remember, these 6900 XTs, they are going to take a little bit more power than the 6800 XT, but you're getting a lot more core performance out of it than the 6800 XT. And that pricing is really, really good. Maybe we aren't quite there yet. I don't think we'll see liquidations of the 6900 XT from miners necessarily. That's probably going to lean more on the green team. If you're interested in picking one of these up, now's the time, obviously. So I want to bring it up with you guys. I don't have any affiliate links or anything like that with Newegg, but bringing it up, obviously I think the buy here would be the 6900 XT, not the 3090 Ti. Even from a mining performance standpoint, probably, even though obviously on the 3090 Ti, you're going to get way better Ethereum hash rates. You do have other options on the 6900 XT that aren't too shabby, right? Like your Raven coins, your used to be Fearos, Even the flux is pretty good on the 6900 XT. We have new firmware too. If you guys are running a T19 or an S19 series ASIC miner, you may want to go ahead and check out this new firmware from Hive OS that's getting better performance, and it says maximum performance and highest reliability. Users of the S19 ASIC miner series, the S19, S19J, S19 Pro, S19J Pro, and the T19 are constantly searching for the most effective solutions for saving electricity, increasing the hash rate, and of course protecting their devices against viruses. The new S19 series and T19 Hive-On ASIC firmware is the solution. Let's look at what makes the Hive-On firmware stand out. We have implemented various new features to improve your experience working with the firmware to the fullest. It enables you to benefit from the highest performance and virus protection. Hive-On ASIC firmware offers an increased level of hash rate and lowers the power consumption compared to the stock data. For example, the S19J Pro hash rate is 104 terahash, while the S19J Pro Hive-On ASIC firmware enables users to get up to 138 terahash. When comparing the power consumption of the same model, the stock firmware consumes 3,050 watts, while on Hive-On, one consumes around 2,790 watts. This is a massive upgrade, guys. So make sure you're getting this on your list of things to do. I do not have any of these ASIC miners to test on, unfortunately for you. Otherwise, I would be working on that this evening. But every stock firmware has a well-documented list of software vulnerabilities. A virus infection can occur and the owners will lose their income. Some viruses infect miners so much that part of the device's hash power is lost forever. The issue can be resolved by only by replacing the entire processor / control board, or you can prevent the situation entirely with the Hive-On ASIC firmware. The new series S19 or the new S19 series and the T19 Hive-On ASIC firmware ensures advanced levels of protection are provided. Thus, you avoid infection risk and potential time and money expenses on the recovery by protecting your devices. Your ASIC will be protected even if infected devices get introduced into the local network. The interface has become even more transparent for those who have just started using the firmware. We ensure that everyone gets a perfect user experience and enjoys maximum convenience while using the S19 series and T19 firmware. Linking miners to the Hive OS became even more convenient with the new firmware. Head to the system settings section of the S19 series and the T19 firmware to find a direct link to the farm hash with all the needed instructions. Still have some questions? We've added a link to the knowledge base here too. So here are the small changes that make a big difference. Unlike the previous series, running from an SD card does not delete the settings. Pool, web, password, and network data will remain stored even after inserting an SD card. The tune sensitivity option has been added, which shows the possible percentage of the hash rate deviation considered normal when the tune is running. If you set 90%, then a 10% deviation from the maximum will be the norm. The set preset profile has been added to the ASIC web UI, allowing one to set a profile and quickly start mining without spending time on tuning. In this case, mining will not be as efficient as possible, and the state of each chip will not be taken into account. Still, this will enable a quick start. Time zone and temperature unit options have been added to the miner configuration block for your convenience. The footer now has a control to turn on the blink LED indicator, making it incredibly easy to locate a device for users with many ASIC miners. Awesome for troubleshooting. Aside from basic ASIC info and information, that's kind of funny, we have added a panel of 3 colors to the footer to display the mining status. Now it's even easier to keep track of your hash rate and temperatures regardless of which page you're on. Use the diagnostic log to track whether the ASIC was successfully connected to the system and downloaded the received data in text format. The firmware is compatible with ZIL control boards. There we go. And you can download it here. So that link will be down in the description later. I don't have it right now. I'm going to throw it in chat for you guys. This was from Detroit Irish. So thanks, Detroit, for bringing this to our attention. And boom. I think that is going to be awesome, awesome stuff. All right. So Cardano developers delay the Vassal upgrade. This is an upgrade that a lot of people have been expecting from Cardano. The Cardonians, or whatever you call them, they've been super excited about this, but there's several bugs that remained outstanding before the change could be completed. It's coming from CoinDesk. Input Output IOG, the development lab for the Cardano blockchain, didn't release Monday's planned Vassal hard fork on the Cardano testnet because of technical bugs, the team said on Tuesday. Vassal, a network upgrade that would increase scaling capabilities on Cardano, is now slated for late June release on Cardano's test network. Hard forks refer to a network upgrade in which blockchains validate and produce new blocks with predetermined new rules. Quote, the IOG engineering team is extremely close to finalizing the core work, with just 7 bugs still outstanding to complete the hard fork work, with none currently ranked as severe, developers said. After some consideration, we have agreed not to send the hard fork update proposal to the testnet today to allow more time for testing, they added. Developers said that few outstanding items were needed to confirm everything was working as expected and that they would need a few more days to do that. This puts us behind schedule on our previously communicated target date as of June 29th for the mainnet hard fork, they said. Which is kind of funny because we have obviously lots of delays that are getting pushed back on June 29th, right? So we have Ethereum as well. The final decision to upgrade the Cardano testnet will be made in consultation with the network's decentralized application development community. The developers must clear any critical issues in testing, conduct benchmarking tests for the software, and inform the broader developer community to allow enough time to retest their dApps before the hard fork. The delay didn't cause a drop in the price of Cardano's ADA tokens. They were up 5.6% in the past 24 hours, outperforming Bitcoin's 3.9% rise. So, I mean, obviously, the Cardonians, that's what I'm going to call them, aren't going to let the price fall, my friends. Whew. So, obviously, a delay is not good, but it can also be good because you don't want a bad product getting launched. I haven't seen any announcements yet as to what the bugs are in particular. But, it's expected. This isn't necessarily like crazy. That being said, we do have some craziness. Ethereum, obviously, we've been talking about Ethereum and their delay of the difficulty bomb to September of this year. And basically what's going to be happening is that we're going to have a reset of the difficulty bomb, which means that the difficulty is going to come back down. Thank goodness for miners. You'll have a couple more months to get better rewards because right now, as you know, the difficulty is spiking and basically Ethereum rewards are next to nil. It's getting rougher and rougher and it's getting close to a lot of people just barely breaking even on their GPU rigs. Glacier upgrade announcement was posted on June 16th by Tim Biko on the Ethereum Foundation blog, and here it is. The Ethereum network will be undergoing a scheduled network upgrade at block 15,050,000, which is expected to occur on Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. The exact date is subject to change due to variable block time, so please upgrade your node before Monday, June 27th, 2022 to account for variable block times. The Glacier upgrade or network upgrade changes the parameters of the Ice Age and the difficulty bomb, pushing it back by 700,000 blocks or roughly 100 days. This has also been done in the Byzantium, Constantinople, the Mir, Glacier, London, and Arrow Glacier network upgrades. No other changes were introduced as part of the Glacier. So this has all been done before. It's not really an upgrade, right? It's just a change. I guess technically an upgrade, but as you guys know, this is something that they do a lot, right? It's a delay of the difficulty bomb. With Ropsten now transitioned to proof of stake, the difficulty bomb only affects the Ethereum mainnet. This means Glacier will not be deployed on any testnet. So the testnets are remaining basically on their current path forward. In order to be compatible with the Glacier upgrade, node operators will need to update the client version that they run to one of the ones listed below. The full specification of the upgrade can be found in the execution specs repository under grayglacier.md. A single EIP is included in the upgrade. and that is basically the 5133 that we've been talking about for a while now. As an Ethereum user or Ether holder, is there anything you need to do? And then they say basically if you use an exchange, a web wallet service, a mobile wallet service, or hardware wallet, you do not need to do anything unless you are informed to take additional steps. As a node operator, you will need to download the latest version of the Ethereum client. And then if you're a miner, if you're using an Ethereum client that has not updated the latest version listed above, your client will sync to the pre-fork blockchain once the update occurs. You'll be stuck on an incompatible chain following the old rules, and you will be unable to send Ether or operate on the post-upgrade Ethereum network. So obviously the mining pools are going to have to be prepared here. What is a network upgrade in Ethereum? What happens to the network upgrade? We kind of got all that covered. Why Glacier? And is the big one that we want to answer. While we generally use Ethereum conference city names for execution layer network upgrades that only delay the difficulty bomb / ice age, use Glacier names instead. So basically using the Glacier name basically means that they aren't doing any other upgrades here except for the EIP 5133. Once again, I want to reiterate that this was moved from August to mid-September of 2022. It's going to be 100 days from June 29th, right? So it's kind of what we're looking at as far as that timing goes. The wording that we were kind of sticking to as to the actual delay of proof of stake was in here as well. They actually changed it. So previously under here we had essentially the proof of stake being delayed, but they removed that wording, and it says the motivation is just to avoid network degradation due to a premature activation of the difficulty bomb. And obviously that's because right now what we see is a couple things, right? We see right now the highest average difficulty was on June 8th. It's starting to spike back up. It did drop a little bit due to the amount of miners on the network dropping from about 1.11, 1.15 was the peak, down to 949 terahash a second as miners are dropping off. The difficulty is going down. This is going to spell out some pretty good opportunity for miners in the short term, because we have basically miners hopping off, a lot of people liquidating, a lot of miners in China liquidating right now, and they have their cards completely turned off. You may get a little bit of boost here, provided the network hash rate remains low and the difficulty bomb gets reset. You're going to have a couple months to actually maybe recoup some more costs. So if you're turned off right now, pay attention to the network, right? I understand a lot of people you've been priced out now based on their electricity costs and so on. If that's one of you, or if that is you, you may want to pay attention here to get a little bit more revenue off of those cards before you go ahead and dump them, because the price on the GPU market has already come down and you're probably not going to have great time selling them. So you might as well wait till the 29th and see if you can snag a little bit more off of Ethereum. If you continue to mine like I am, this isn't a big deal. We'll probably go off of, Ergo and go back to Ethereum for a little bit to pump up the revenue numbers for the year and then swap back to Ergo. Personally, that's kind of what we will be sitting on. That being said, we have more Bitcoin miner news. Bitcoin miner Iris Energy increases 2022 hash rate estimate to 4.3 exahash a second. The construction of the miner's Texas site may be delayed as the firm removed the completion estimate. Bitcoin mining firm Iris Energy increased its hash rate expectation to 4.3 exahash a second for the year. Previously, the Australia-based miner said its hash rate would increase to 3.7 exahash a second by year end. The increase is because its size in Mackenzie, Canada will be completed ahead of schedule, the firm said in an SEC filing on Tuesday. Iris Energy was also planning to finish the construction of data centers in Childress County, Texas, that would house 3 exahash of computing power by the end of 2023 and energize them in the first quarter of 2023, according to May 11th investor presentation. In the latest filing, Iris Energy hinted that its Texas site may be delayed. The firm removed its estimates for completion of the Texas site, instead saying it would continue preparatory construction activities so that it can scale up once market conditions improve. We expect to continue work at Childress to preserve optionality going into 2023 for our 600 megawatt project in Texas, end quote, said the firm's president, Lindsay Ward, in the filing. A company spokesperson repeated the language of the filing when CoinDesk asked to clarify if Childress facility is on hold. Quote, Iris Energy's contracting and procurement strategy in relation to construction activities at Childress allows us to take a prudent pause on major capital expenditures activities without incurring significant additional financial costs, end quote, the spokesperson said. The Bitcoin miner has already made a $130 million payment on mining rigs over the expected 4.3 exahash a second and has a contract to buy $400 million worth of machines from Bitmain. Iris Energy also decided not to pursue any financing options to maintain balance sheet flexibility as market conditions deteriorate. Many miners have used the at-the-market equity offerings and loans to fuel their expansion as the HODL Bitcoin in the past few months. Yesterday, Bitfarms said it sold 3,000 Bitcoin for $62 million, in part to reduce a rolling credit facility from Galaxy Digital. This is important news because if we're really looking at Iris Energy in general, the big point here, like if you were, and this isn't financial advice, right? But if you were to invest in a mining company, Iris Energy is kind of doing it right here, in my opinion, right? They did not pursue any financing issues to maintain balance sheet flexibility. This is where you want to be at. You want to be in the expansion phase during the bear market, and that is where Iris Energy is. However, they are pausing a little bit, but then you have another facility that's going to be completed ahead of schedule. Everything's looking really good for them. The firm will have $93 million in cash after it pays the expansion to 4.3 exahash a second and will continue to sell its Bitcoin on a daily basis, according to the Tuesday filing. Iris Energy said it has no corporate level debt because of its indebtedness comes from limited recourse financing that sits in balance sheets of its wholly owned subsidiaries, meaning loan defaults will not liquidate the entire company. The firm has $41 million in debt, according to data compiled in a June 14th investors note by B. Riley. They really are looking like the best out there right now, and it becomes more apparent, obviously, when we see things like that we've talked about all week, right? The issues with Bitfarms, for example, right? So I think that seeing an increase in hash rate for an individual miner, especially as it pertains to Texas too, is fantastic. Publicly traded utility company inks deal to power Bitcoin mining in Wyoming. Black Hills Energy will deliver up to 75 megawatts of power to a new mining operation in Cheyenne, Wyoming. A South Dakota-based public utility company, Black Hills Corp., has inked a deal through its Wyoming subsidiary, Black Hills Energy, to provide power to a Bitcoin mining operation in Cheyenne, Wyoming for at least 5 years. The agreement is the company's first agreement to service under its blockchain interruptible service tariff, which began seeking in 2018. The tariff was approved by the Wyoming Public Service Commission in 2019. Under terms of the tariff, customers who are able to have power distributed at the utility company's discretion will receive a $2 credit adjustment per kilowatt hour, an agreement similar to the relationship between Texas-based crypto miners and the Electricity Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT. Black Hills Energy will deliver up to 75 megawatts of electricity to the mining operation, which, when powered on, will be one of the largest mining operations in Wyoming, according to a press release for the company. Quote, "We are pleased to deliver yet another innovative solution to support business and technology growth in Wyoming while benefiting other Cheyenne customers," said Lynn Evans, president and CEO of Black Hills Corporation, in a statement. Quote, "We are excited to serve this new type of customer and explore benefits we can provide to other flexible load customers over the long term," Evans added. I want to point out the significance of this because a lot of people like to harp on, the winter storm of Texas, which I lived through, right? And the unreliability of the power grid. What Texas has done and utilized with Bitcoin mining and worked out with them to increase the reliability of the power grid and working with them has clearly been functioning correctly, right? Like this is in the right path of the right direction. And so much so that when you have other states looking at who to copy, they're copying Texas. So as far as Bitcoin mining and power companies and their relationships, the gold standard appears to be Texas. And this is important because this does mean that if other people are looking to Texas to figure out how to, increase their power generation, utilizing cryptocurrency to get there, and, basically increasing the investment into the reliability of the power companies and the structure, I think it's a good thing. Let me know what you guys think. Now, we're going to get a little political. It happens. We have to get political. I understand. Oh, you're just a crypto YouTuber. Don't talk about politics. Look, crypto at this point, and always, since its inception, it's not even at this point. Cryptocurrency from its inception has been a political movement, regardless of your opinion on it. And if you are blind to that, then you are blind to essentially the principles of crypto and your understanding of what it was created to do. And I want to make that clear because that means that we can't just avoid this topic. And if you disagree with me, then I am fully capable of hearing out your arguments. And if I am incorrect, I will make the changes. I think that I have proven that time and time again on this channel. What we have today is a letter to the Congress of the United States from Republicans in rebuttal to the anti-crypto letter that was penned previously. And this is in favor of cryptocurrency mining. And yes, it's coming from the Republican Party. And that's important to note. All right. Regardless of your opinions on the rest of everything going on with the Republican Party, it's important to note this because we want to back the people that are going to be keeping our interests in mind. And as cryptocurrency miners, that is what they're doing. Dear Administrator Reagan, we are writing to seek your assistance in ensuring that Environmental Protection Agency pursues a comprehensive analysis as it relates to understanding the potential environmental effects of digital asset mining. The United States is the global leader in financial services and technology innovation. At a time of rapid technological change, we must affirm our commitment to responsible innovation to ensure future generations of Americans continue to enjoy prosperity and opportunity. President Biden's executive order recognizes this commitment, finding that we must reinforce United States leadership through the responsible development of payment innovations in digital assets. As you know, a substantial portion of digital asset miners' energy use is based on renewable sources. Oh, thank you. Somebody finally says it in an official letter. As you know, a substantial portion of digital asset mining energy use is based on renewable energy. You are incentivized as a cryptocurrency miner to participate in renewable energy. That is matter of fact. Are you incentivized as a proof of staker to participate in utilizing renewable energy? No, you are not. You are incentivized to use traditional data centers powered by the big three, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, who are not being pushed into the same realm of renewable energy. Why is that? Well, as we see states releasing regulations, they target cryptocurrency miners, and those cryptocurrency miners, to avoid it, do what? Like we saw just recently, they went ahead and shifted them to data processing centers. They are no longer mining cryptocurrency because they put too much regulation on the cryptocurrency miners and they do not on the data center. Is that data center now using less power than the facility was when it was mining cryptocurrency? No, it was not. Now it is just able to use dirtier energy and basically still get away with murder. And that is basically how that functions. Because why? Because they don't want to regulate the big three. They just want to attack the individuals that are trying to power the latest innovation for finance. Oh, all right. Off the soapbox. Additionally, many miners use other power sources like natural gas that may otherwise go unused. Oh, nailed it. Nailed it. What do we talk about as well that's important with cryptocurrency mining? The ability to use wasted power. And this is something very unique within the cryptocurrency mining industry that is very significant, because what you are doing right now, it's somewhere around the estimated is 20% of the natural gas is burned off, right? So not only are we hurting the ozone, but we're also not utilizing it. Cryptocurrency is about reducing waste. It reduces waste in a ton of different ways. We could go into the reduction of waste of not chopping down trees and printing more physical money. We could go into reducing waste of energy as it pertains to natural gas. These are all positives. You want to reduce energy as a society. A society's ability to utilize all of the energy and more energy directly correlates to that society's prosperity. This has been proven time and time again, and it's very significant. JIA Energy in Wyoming is an example of a company that is working with oil and gas producers to make a positive environmental impact through Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining that utilizes flared gas is also reducing methane emissions in Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, West Virginia, Ohio, and North Dakota. This private sector-led breakthrough is an important tool to lower emission future. Finally, digital asset mining can have a substantial stabilizing effect on energy grids, like we just talked about with the adoption in Wyoming, right? On over here. So this is true. These are all facts. And it's amazing. It's great. I love this letter. I love it. Finally, digital asset mining can have effect on energy grids. It maintains robust base load levels, yet it can be switched off quickly in times of peak demand. And once again, it's about writing the incentives correctly in your regulations, right? Or by the power companies. The power companies incentivize the miners to turn off their miners during peak demand. And basically, it acts as a battery, and peak demand does no longer shut down the grid, right? You get rid of all these grid shutdown problems because you have a base load that is being monetized. If you don't have that base load being monetized to maintain the energy needs that you may have at peak loads, then you end up with grids going down. This is amazing. Most importantly, digital assets and their related mining activities are essential to the economic future of the United States. Other countries are rapidly moving to adopt digital assets and are attracting large amounts of capital and talent in the hopes of growing their own financial services sectors as digital assets and distributed ledger technology are widely adopted in the coming decade. The United States, as a global financial service leader, cannot rest on its laurels. We must focus on promoting responsible innovation so that our country can compete in a hyper-competitive, globalized economic system. Treasury Secretary Yellen articulated it best last week when she stated regulation should also be tech neutral. Favoring one technology over another, including proof of work versus proof of stake, can stifle innovation, erode future economic gains, and limit affiliated efficiencies. There we go. Digital assets are an essential component of promoting financial inclusion and have created new wealth building opportunities for Americans. American leadership in digital asset technologies is essential to ensuring the next generation of Americans can enjoy the prosperity and opportunity that our country has been blessed with. As you evaluate the potential environmental issues surrounding digital assets, the critical role that responsible innovation will play in our long-term economic future cannot be overlooked. We look forward to continuing our discussion on these critical issues. Some of the things that I did want to talk about, as far as anything pertains to this, unfortunately, when I hear a statement like, as you evaluate the potential environmental issues surrounding digital assets, the critical role that responsible innovation will play in our long-term economic future cannot be overlooked. And that is the exact thing that has been overlooked in our government as far as the United States population goes. And I think across the board too, if I look at Europe or Canada or whatever, it seems to be overlooking the economic future time and time again. We could talk about the lockdowns and the response and that sort of thing on my locals account if you like to go over there, but we will keep it off of here because obviously we have issues with that. But that's how I feel about it. So who signed it? Because this is important, all right? I don't care about your opinions of the rest of the party I am an issue voter when we're talking on YouTube. This is an issue that I support this letter, so I want to support the representatives that are signing it. We're going to talk about who they are. You have Senator Cynthia Lummis. You have Patrick McHenry. You have Bill Haggerty. You have Pete Sessions. You have Kevin Kramer. You have Bill Posey. You have Steve Daines. And you have Bill, I can't pronounce his name, and I will go look it up. Tom Emmer. You have Andy Barr. Anthony Gonzalez. Brian Steele. William Timmons. And Ralph Norman. These are the people that we need to support in our government as far as United States citizens, because if we are worried about mining and cryptocurrency mining in the future of it, this will directly affect, of course, everything. So really good letter, really good rebuttal. It used a bunch of facts. It popped it out. It laid it out really, really nicely for, I think, everybody to understand, and I'm in support of it. All right. So at this point, we're going to get into cryptocurrency mining profitability, and we'll get right back into that after the ad. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. Boom, and back. Mining profitability has been, well, interesting, to say the least. So, what has happened with Ergo and mining Neta is that for 2 days, essentially, we had, or for a day, on Saturday, we basically had an entire day where there were issues with the processing of the blocks through the smart contract for Neta for payout. If you stayed on there, you're probably having a really good time. Even if you didn't, you need to go back and check, because you probably are getting payouts right now. I've talked to GetBlock. I've talked to miners that are no longer mining Neta, and they are getting payouts, okay? So basically, we talked about this yesterday. They started processing 5 of the unpaid blocks per block, and that has significantly increased the amount of payouts. They should be completed today. So when you look at this, understand that we're basically getting paid out for 2 days right now, okay? We're getting paid out for Saturday, and we're getting paid out for yesterday, right? The past 24 hours. Because if you look at this, you're going to be like, oh my God, you're making so much. And so our payments for the last 24 hours are equivalent to $18,617. And we have a balance, an unconfirmed balance of $5,657, right? So if we calculate that out, the total for the past 24 hours is what? $18,617 plus the $5,657. That means that we have, in the past 24 hours, made 24,274 Neta. What does that end up coming out to? We can go to the DEX, right? And we can select our Neta, and we can type in 24,274. And we end up with a 24-hour revenue of $157. We haven't seen numbers like that on the farm in forever. And I have a whole bunch of rigs turned off too. And one rig now mining this other Neoxa thing. So, great payouts on Neta. GetBlock resolved it. They're here for the miners. I like to see that they're resolving it. The payouts are coming. They're doing what the best they can. Yes, it messed up Saturday. Yes, that's unfortunate because they had the most miners that they've ever had. I know as running a pool before and having issues that the biggest disappointment is hitting your highest and then hitting some sort of load issues that cause the pool to go down and payments pause. People leave the pool. You get it back up and running. You pay them out and you have less miners on the network. I get it. I've been there. So I feel bad for them from that perspective, but I completely also understand the other side. You're mining it. You're not seeing any rewards. You're like, what the hell? This isn't working. Son of a tech F me over. I'm moving off. I'm going back to Ethereum. And that's going to happen. This is the way it goes, boys. I've seen this time and time again. They're a smaller pool, but they are a smaller pool that has basically been the only one that's given individual miners an ability to vote. They're way ahead of the game on smart pools. They are killing it. And we're going to be having an interview with them today, actually, a little bit later on. And I'll be posting that up on the channel later this evening. Me talking about some of the issues that they've had, asking some questions about details and so on. So if you're interested in what happened, how they resolved it, all that, stay tuned on the channel for that later this evening. But I'm pretty happy, like I said, with my mining profitability. Let's check what to mine though. Probably doesn't look as good. We have the RTX 90 clocked in with, of course, recorrecting some of the hash rates like ZIL hash to 110 hash, Kapow, Ravencoin to 60, ProgPal to 60, and Firo to 60. And so let's go ahead and get this calculated out and take a look. Cero's in first at $1.95 a day in revenue and $1.16 a day after power at 10 cents a kilowatt hour. Xano is in second at $1.76 a day in revenue and 97 cents a day after power. Ravencoin, $1.70 a day in revenue and 91 cents a day after power. Ethereum, $1.61 a day in revenue and 84 cents a day after power. Keeping in mind that we have the Glacier upgrade that we talked about in today's show that will significantly change this, especially with the decreased hash rate that has happened. Conflux, $1.49 a day in revenue and 70 cents a day after power. Firo, $1.43 a day in revenue and 69 cents a day after power. Ethereum Classic, $1.38 a day in revenue and 62 cents a day after power. Flux is at $1.34 a day in revenue and 64 cents a day after power. However, if you mine it through NiceHash, utilizing the ZIL hash algorithm, it's a little better at $1.48 a day in revenue and 79 cents a day after power. We have then scrolling down, way down here, Ergo at $1.13 a day in revenue and 51 cents a day after power. So that pretty much wraps up your mining profitability. Let's get into hash rate changes. Ethereum's kind of steadied out on its hash rate at 944 terahash a second. However, there was another difficulty spike due to the difficulty bomb currently going off. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, see if there's been any significant changes in Bitcoin since yesterday. Not really. We're holding steady right around that 220 exahash a second. Let's go ahead and calculate in a little bit more and see what's going on with Flux. Flux is at 1.35 mega solutions a second. It had a big spike and then came back down yesterday at some point. Ergo, we see obviously we've had the hash rate go down to 13.97 terahash a second. That difficulty spike is still sitting here. We expect that to come back down though. Here in probably a day or two. Probably the weekend we'll have low difficulty again on Ergo. Ravencoin is at 2.74 terahash a second. All right, so mining pool profitability for the past 90 days, the Ethermine in first, Crazy Pool in second, F2 Pool in third. Last 60 days, Ethermine in first, Crazy Pool in second, F2 Pool in third. Last 30 days, ZET in first, Ethermine in second, Crazy Pool in third. Last 21 days, ZET in first, Ethermine in second, Crazy Pool in third. Last 14 days, same. Last 7 days, Crazy Pool moves into second and Crux Pool moves into third. Last 3 days, Crux Pool moves into second and Ethermine takes over third. And for the last day, Crazy Pool moves back into second and Mining Pool Hub takes third. ASIC miner profitability, we have the KD6 back down to $20 a day. We have the KD5 at $13 a day. We have the L7 at $20 a day, probably merge mining because that is the nice hash price. And then if we scroll down, we have the S19 Pro at $3.58 a day. So a little bit down. Of course, this should go up with the new firmware from Hive. So, you know, you're going up from 104 terahash a second to 138 terahash a second, and you're reducing your power consumption from 3,000 watts to 2,700 watts. Pretty big deal there, right? Like if we wanted to do a calculator, let's see if we could do this. Let's just do Bitcoin. Let's do 138 terahash a second at 2790 watts and calculate that out at 10 cents a kilowatt hour. It would be for the day $5.30. So really with that reduction in power and that increase in hash rate, you're going up basically almost $2 a day in revenue on an S19 Pro. So don't be sleeping on this if you're running, you know, the S19 series. Don't be sleeping on the new firmware. Go check it out and make sure it's working for you. Let's get into questions and answers. As always, super chats are priority, never required, but first to be answered because they're the easiest to read. Next, if you want to get anything read, make sure you tag at Son of a Tech. That will turn the message orange. Do it at the beginning of the message and it's easier for me to read. If you do not follow these stipulations, I cannot guarantee that I will even read your message, much less respond to it. All right. So we have a super chat sticker from DB for 99 cents. Thanks for boosting that algorithm. And a $3 Canadian super chat sticker from FitFinatic. Thanks for that, good sir. Let's get into some questions. Billy was really wanting to know, why is Ergo better than Ethereum Classic? So there are quite a few reasons, from both technical as well, pretty much all technical, right? But also a people thing, right? Let's go ahead and get into that though. So first of all, Ergo from an infrastructure standpoint is easier to run because it uses less power and has less heat, outputs less heat, meaning from an infrastructure standpoint as a miner, as a cryptocurrency miner that wants to reduce heat and power and increase hash rate and profitability, Ergo is more enticing. I can run more power in a smaller space. I can run more rigs in a smaller space with less power utilizing the same equipment than I can on any other algorithm and any other coin currently available. So from an infrastructure standpoint, boom, algorithm, awesome. Okay. Let's talk about Ethereum Classic a little bit. Ethereum Classic is, you know, as it states, the Classic. It's the original chain for Ethereum. It came about through a hard fork, which means it has some issues surrounding that as far as it goes. Now, this isn't necessarily saying that I don't like Ethereum Classic. You asked specifically why Ergo is better, right? It is behind, right, as far as technical goes. So its DeFi is behind, its NFTs are just catching up now, okay? If we look at Ergo and what it has done in a much shorter amount of time, 3 years, its invention was in 2019, what we see is that it already has a working DeFi. It's going to have a bridge to Cardano, and it already has an NFT space that is functioning with a marketplace. Now, the NFT marketplace is on Ethereum Classic as well. NFTs are going to be a little weird because, you know, it'll depend on the perceived value by the public and whatever quality of art that is placed on those ecosystems. So it's a little bit more difficult to get into as far as that is concerned. The point is, are those tools available on any given portion? And what Ergo's done in 3 years is something that really, like a lot of other coins, haven't been able to do. It's pretty much added all the services that we have seen from Ethereum within 3 years. That's pretty amazing. Another thing that you would want to talk about is their support for developers, which is going to be the Ergo Pad, right? That sort of stuff. Pretty awesome stuff there. Then we would want to talk about their governance. And governance is 90% miner consensus. changes to algorithms, changes to monetary policy. All of that is similar to Bitcoin in the fact that it is all governed by the miner vote. And this is very important when we're talking about cryptocurrencies. Ethereum Classic has something similar, but it can change a little bit more. We'll talk about that maybe in a video. Maybe I'll do a complete video separate. But if we're talking about why Ergo is good. Now, I have no payment from Ergo. I have no payment from any of the pools. I don't participate in that sort of stuff. So as far as all of this is my perception of Ergo and what I think of the project in general. Let's talk about the developer, Kushti, and some very pertinent information surrounding that as well. We've done an interview with him on this channel. There was, of course, the question I had surrounding moving to ASICs, and he said he wasn't opposed to it. I want to bring up, though, that would require some sort of minor consensus, etc. We'll have to probably like dig into that one and re-ask that question as we get kind of further down the line with either Armenio or Kushti. But as far as Kushti is concerned, if we talk about where he came from Cardano, right? And if you talk to Charles Hoskinson, when Charles Hoskinson was asked who the smartest person in cryptocurrency was, in blockchain was, he said Kushti, okay? That's pretty significant because you're talking about Charles Hoskinson, who also came from Ethereum, has worked on Cardano with Kushti, and then Kushti spun up Ergo. If we want to talk about future as well, you have Sigma protocols, etc. As far as what is considered within the industry, Charles Hoskinson, for example, of what should be a top 100 coin right now that is not, Ergo is the number one that he points out. So those are all the reasons to pay attention to Ergo, okay? I don't mean, obviously, the entire industry shifts, public perception, advertising, all that stuff plays a part. Ergo could completely disappear. I do not know, but these are the reasons. Miller Mining Company says, Ask Son of a Tech, speak freely about politics, just my 2 cents. Thank you, good sir. Billy says, okay, we already answered that, Billy. Nathaniel says, I like paper money. And he has reasons for it that we won't state. Then Carson says, signing off while he reads politics. All right, we'll see you later, dude. Let's see. Chadwick's Racing says, Ask Son of a Tech, it appears Neta blocks are still in process state from 6/21/2022. So almost a day behind still. All right, we were supposed to get all those blocks paid out today. I don't know how many of those are going to be, but I do know that we still have some that need to get processed, right? Miller Mining Company says, Ask Son of a Tech, you hit it on the head. These representatives need to be reelected to ensure our mining future is not right or left. It's for our financial survival. It is because we are miners that we would vote for them, not because of their political affiliation. It is because of what they have stated. That is it. There's nothing else going on there. And I'm sure that we will see some sort of political attacks on these candidates, right? And then we will get canceled because we support, whatever the key term is they decide to apply to them. And I'll talk more about this in more of what I would call a space where you guys would be interested in checking it out on sonofatech.locals.com. But the basic idea is we care about this issue because it directly affects our income and our livelihoods. And therefore, we want to vote for people that support us. We don't want to vote for people that don't support us. PC Space Race says, Ask Son of a Tech, is Texas really pro-crypto or just pro-Bitcoin? Why is Binance not in Texas? Binance not being in Texas has always been an interesting one, right? As far as that goes, I don't know the details. It's something I kind of briefly looked into many years ago, and I can't recall exactly why it was. So I do need to re-look at that, PC Space Race. But they are pro-mining is what they are. They're pro-infrastructure upgrades through cryptocurrency mining. Gabe Denny says, at Summit Tech, when you talk to Neta folks, can you ask them if they're going to increase pool of mineable coins? The paper said only 10 million are available right now. I believe 10 million will be the cap. to be honest. LZ says, ask Son of a Tech, you tried Neoxa mining with your RTX 3090 for about 4 hours. I used a small pool and got about 500 Neoxa in that time span. That's 100 Neoxa an hour. By calculation, that would be 5 cents and not worth it. Yeah, I already talked about Neoxa not being worth it until they have a reason to purchase the coin to redeem for something. Right now, because of the way Neoxa is configured, and that is the proof of game, all they're doing is paying out people, right? There's no incentive to purchase the coin to utilize it somewhere else. So until they implement it into a game where you can utilize that resource within the game to purchase maybe in-game items or something like that, it's kind of a moot point. They need to figure out that usability, right? And I think it'll come later on. The reason I wanted to do the video was because nobody had done it for Hive OS. So I wanted to make sure that that was out there so that people knew how to do it when it comes up, right? And it's a little bit more complicated than your traditional Hive OS flight sheets. EJ says, at Son of a Tech, Ted Park, thank you for the 99-cent super sticker. EJ says, at Son of a Tech, with GPU prices dropping and AIB discounts, are you buying GPUs? I am not buying GPUs right now. No, I'm working on upgrading infrastructure at this point. Village BC says, ask Son of a Tech, if you were picking a basket of 3 cryptocurrencies to mine after proof of stake, which 3 would you choose for now? For now, I mean, Ergo, Flux, and the third one, I don't know. I just don't. Maybe Caspa. Maybe Caspa. Miller Mining Company says, ask Son of a Tech, for the Neta setup, since you have to put in an IP in the subpool settings, what happens if you're using dynamic IPs from a DHCP? All you have to do is find whatever IP once the settings are in place, the settings are in place. If you want to change them again, you need to find your public IP again. It's not a persistent check on your IP for that. All it is a password to make settings changes. Mark Gear says, hi, Son of a Tech. I have an 8RX 570, 8 gigabyte. I'm getting DAG repairing. Then within less than 2 minutes, it crashes and my miner settings are 1203 and 2165. And Windows VM is max 80 gigabytes and min 40 gigabytes. Have you turned off the overclocks to test? Harvey Weinstein, or Weinstein, I don't know. Stein. Sorry if I don't know exactly which one it is. Thanks for the $1.99 super chat. Says, put all my 10 series to Raven. Seems to be decent. Yeah, a lot of people are doing Raven. It's too hot for me. Like even yesterday when we did the Neoxa, which is utilizing Kapow, which is the algorithm, right? I'm having overheating issues, so I have to bump back off of it. It's just too hot. It's too hot to mine Raven coin for me. That's just the way it is. Smaller rigs, right? Not as big of a deal. Let's see. Zog Miner says, ask Son of a Tech, what are your thoughts on Cardano? No particular thoughts. I could care less either way. ASICs, not a fan. Mark's Barbell says, ask Son of a Tech, how are you liquidating Ergo? Kraken, or not Kraken, sorry. KuCoin. Is it KuCoin? I don't know. I have a lot of exchanges. I think you could, at this point, there's a few different places. The short answer is I have not been liquidating it. All I've been doing is adding liquidity. That's it. So if you want the true answer, I'm not liquidating it. I'm adding liquidity. So boom. If it would load, I guess it's not going to load, but I'm adding liquidity. So, but there are plenty of different areas that you can do it on. The last one I did it on, I believe, was KuCoin. Was it KuCoin or was it? Yeah, it's KuCoin. KuCoin was the last one that I used to liquidate it. You can see it's right there. But as of right now, I'm not liquidating. That's the short answer. Probably won't be liquidating any crypto until 2025. Take a job if I gotta to pay for the farm. I will not be pulling out unless I absolutely have to. Hard Fork Crypto says, that's Tech. What coins do you think will be most likely to survive the bear market? Bitcoin. Duh. Billy says, that's Tech. Thanks for the complete response. I definitely like the sound of Ergo now. Going to do some more research, especially on the founder. Cool. Chadwick's Racing says, that's Tech. Hey, what did we talk about? Fight Club. sonofattack.locals.com. Gabe Denny says, ask Sonofattack, just a follow-up. If the cap is hard at 10 million, then Neta will only be available for like 2 more weeks. And then we just mine Ergo. Mattress Overstock, he's trying to sell some mattresses with the $1.99 super chat, says, do you still recommend BT miners for Bitcoin ASICs? Yeah, they've become extremely competitive on the S19s. So definitely BT miners. They ship, they do good. They're still a sponsor. Nothing bad there. I would avoid, my only thing is I would say avoid the koi miners because I've had 2 dead ones and I'm not really a fan of the koi miners, but get yourself a Bitmain. Quad Spawner says, at Son of a Tech, where do you store your crypto long term? If I told you that, I'd have to kill you. That is obviously a reference, and then the other is a little, you know what I mean. Whatever. At your mom's house. Village BC says, at Son of a Tech, stop pimping Ergo. I don't have enough GPUs to fight the influx of miners. It is what it is, bro. Jimmy Yang Lang. There we go. Woo. At Son of a Tech, what do you think about the iPolo Ethereum Classic ASICs since they use low energy? I haven't gotten the chance to get one. I wish I could get one, but I don't want to buy one. You know what I mean? Aggregator Visual says, ask Tech, on average, how much did your power consumption come down after switching to Ergo? About 4 kilowatts. Mike Wright says, at Tech, do you think the 2070 Supers and 2080s good prices in the low 300 range? I've been picking them up between 300 and 350. It's hard to predict the GPU market to know if it'll come down and crash even further, right? It sounds good to me. And I think that they're good for, of course, I think they're good for Flux, which is awesome. Harvey says, 199 super chat says, use this to help you buy some copper shims for the heat. I'm not going to do that. Nope. I think I'd rather go water cooling than I would rather do copper shims. The DBI guy says, ask Attack, people who stake ETH, were they aware that they wouldn't be able to withdraw their stakes on ETH? Yes, they should be aware. I mean, it was pretty clear that they did, right? That you weren't going to be able to pull it out. But maybe a lot of people don't pay attention. Now about 5 more minutes for questions. Felix, I don't have a joke. I tried to think of one. I can't think of one. Gunnick says, at Sound of Tech, I followed your video on how to mine Ergo, but my GPUs keep crashing as soon as the data set is complete. Any possible reasons? Maybe a corrupt miner? Possible. I mean, do you have all the overclocks turned off? It's always the first thing to check. Mattis, good night. Have a good one. Thanks for watching today. Kevin Smith says, at Sound of Tech, you should do 5 minutes pronouncing non-English names. Yeah, I probably should. That would be hilarious. Detroit Irish says, at Sound of Tech, when OGs were staking ETH, they weren't aware you would not be able to withdraw. Wasn't that a later development? So the later development, okay. I think it was always you weren't going to be able to withdraw until the merge. So to be fair, yes, when you were adding staking, you were expecting that when the merge went through that you would be able to unstake, and that portion changed later on down the road. I think, but I'd have to go through and verify the timeline, and that's a very difficult timeline to verify because it's a very long timeline, right? Hard Fork Crypto says, at Son of a Tech, have you known anyone who has used the Hive OS ASIC firmware yet? I have some, you've heard some shady things. I haven't heard shady things. I do know that Bitsby Trippin is using it for all of his. Quad Spawner says, ask Son of a Tech, other than your mom's house, what do you recommend for holding crypto long term? I recommend utilizing a paper wallet. You can generate one via GitHub, I believe it is. Bitcoin. GitHub. Boom. Here's the link to the GitHub. So you can generate it yourself. Oops. Control Z. Generate it on an offline computer. And then, so download that, disconnect from the internet, generate your wallet, write it down on one of these. Hold on, let me go pull it up for you. My favorite is which one? I really like the punch one. Let me find it for you. This one, the SecUX Xseed, which I have somewhere. I was going to do a review on it and I lost it. I'm trying to find it. I had a free one. And boom, right there. So there you go. Harvey, I'm not going to beat up anyone. All right. If he's still pushing BlockFi, though, that's not a good idea. But I understand that he probably has a contract with them. It was the reason I didn't sign a contract with him. So, probably has a contract with him, with them. Got to be careful out here in this space. It's tricky. It's tricky, tricky, tricky. It's a tricky space, man. You know how hard it is to be a crypto YouTuber and not mess up? Let's see. Miller Mining Company says, ask Son of a Tech, thanks for all your insight, brother. Great show as always. Yes, sir. Village BC says, ask Son of a Tech, are there any proof of stake projects that you're watching? Nope. 0. In fact, I just replied to an email when a guy said, I have an NFT project on Polkadot. Would you check it out? And I said, nope, it's proof of stake. Tobias says, ask Son of a Tech, what are the max temps you're comfortable with for mining, both core and mem? You know, that's going to be dependent on the GPU itself because every GPU has different temperature limits. Unix Shady says, ask Son of a Tech, you're not mining ETH with any of your rigs or you split the hash rate off. Nope, it's all Ergo. Well, Neox's on one rig right now, technically, but. Village BC says, that's Son of a Tech. Have you looked into or heard of Aliphium proof of less work concept? No, I have not. Another EUTXO chain looking to be part of the ADA Ergo world. I'm familiar with Aliphium. I have not looked at the proof of less work concept. I think that, you know, Zilliqa is kind of doing something similar though. Felix says, that's Son of a Tech. How is your rear naked choke? Did you know it's called Madaleon in Spanish? No, I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know. My rear naked choke's getting pretty solid, but I've been doing a lot of cross collar lately. But it's getting really solid. Today we got no gi today, so we'll see if we can get it locked in. Do a couple of them. We've been doing a lot of single leg drilling this week. Single leg into taking the back and then cross collar. So I think today for no gi it'll probably be rear naked replaces it. Kevin Smith says, do you like Cardano since it's proof of stake? Well, it's not technically proof of stake. I like Charles Hoskinson because I feel like he's pretty humble and promotes other projects regardless of his like tie to Cardano. So I like him as an individual. As far as the project goes, what is it? It's like, what's it called? It's basically stake, right? But let me see if I can find the name of it. I always forget. Proof of work, proof of stake. Yeah, it's a proof of stake protocol, but it's that Ouroboros. That's what I couldn't remember. Ouroboros. Who else uses that? I forgot now. I think that their ties to the rest of it would be better. Their ties to, like, the reason I like them is they're tied to Ergo, right? Voyager token is proof of work. Any idea how it's mined? No, sir, I do not. AAG says, Ask Tech, congrats on the blue belt. Thank you, good sir. I was supposed to get a blue. I need to get a blue, what do you call this? Rash guard. Han Solo says, do you know where we can get some of those cheapo GPUs the Chinese are dumping? Not right now, I don't. Felix says, Ask Tech, you should do some online calls with other YouTubers or watchers. So we already, through sonofatech.locals.com, if you're a member, I post my Calendly. And I've already done 2 one-on-one sit-downs this week. And I just chat with you for an hour. So there you go. We're already doing that. Not going to do it for free. But we also have an interview scheduled for today. But I've been doing calls with people nonstop all week. Not YouTubers really. But I've hopped in some live streams for other people too. Check out the link down in the description, Detroit, for the article. And it was in the article. All right, boys, that's going to call it for today. I'm going to go head to Jiu-Jitsu. So hit the like, comment, subscribe, notification bell down below. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Make sure you share the show out. We could use all the help we could get, of course, within this bear market. I think we had some really good topics today. So personally, I was a fan of today's show. I'll see you next Tuesday.